Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Jets Landing Zone. I'm your host, Walt, and today we're going to try something a little bit different. But before we start, I have to address the elephant in the room right now because today we got news that the Jets have fired their general manager, Joe Douglas. Now, I know it's something that we all saw coming. I mean, this doesn't surprise nobody. But in the way it was done is a little surprising because general managers usually don't get fired mid-season. And especially a general manager that was in a lame duck year. He's literally going to be leaving, and his contract is going to be over in 6 weeks. Why now? So let's tackle that a little bit here. Now, let's preface this by saying I happen to like Joe Douglas as a general manager only from a talent perspective. And yes, he's had numerous hits, but he's also had numerous misses. Among his hits, the 2022 draft. There is no way that you can ever take that away from him. The collection of talent that he got in that one singular draft is enough to keep him going. And I think that's the reason why he stayed here as long as he did. He's also had some misses too, and a lot of it has to do with Zach Wilson. But you can also look at Mekhi Becton, who's actually doing a little bit better in Philadelphia right now. But you also look at guys like Elijah Moore, um, like a McCole Hardman. Um, so there's a lot of there's a hit and miss. But you know what? Every general manager does this to kind of vilify Joe Douglas on his personal moves. I believe that he's done more good than bad. And the argument can be made that he did preside over the Jets collecting a really, really good roster of talent. But, and here's where the criticism of Joe Douglas comes, he collected a roster, he did not collect a team. And team building is part of what a general manager does. And he could not do that here in his time as a general manager of the New York Jets. His record is 30-64. We've all heard it. No winning seasons, no playoff appearances. He did hire the coaches. And the biggest problem that the Jets have had up until this point has been coaching and building a culture of winning. That is something that Joe Douglas failed. That is something that Robert Saleh has failed at. And so because of that, they're no longer here. The question I have is why do it now? Now, there's a couple of things that maybe Woody Johnson was thinking about. Okay. Maybe he thought, you know what, it's time just to rip the band-aid off and let's start assembling the team that's going to bring in the next GM slash coach. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. You don't want kind of Joe Douglas in the room while you're planning his ouster. So I get that. But again, 6 weeks, you have time to do that also. And it doesn't really affect anything. And what happens to roster moves? Now, I know they have an interim GM in Paul Savage. He seems to be a player guy, a guy that goes around. He's a scouter. He's been with the Cleveland Browns before. And he's played a role in terms of player personnel on the scouting level. So maybe this signals that the Jets are finally going to start getting serious on bringing in people that actually know football. But I doubt it. Jeff Ulbrich has won one game since he's taken over, and the defense has taken a nosedive. The worst part about it, there was a report that came out today that the Jets as a team have checked out. If that's the case, and I think we all know this already, Ulbrich's not coming back. And it's not a good look for Ulbrich either because, you know what, this is a guy that he's not only trying to be the next head coach of the Jets, he's also auditioning for 31 other teams. And if he can't get this team motivated, then that doesn't bode well for his next job. So, again, Jets in a mess. kind of par for the course for this year. And that's it. There is one positive thing. The Jets won't lose this week because they're on a bye. Anyway, continuing on with the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Jets Landing Zone. I'm Walt Melgar. We've got so much to talk about tonight, so we're going to dive straight into the show. The Jets played host to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Jets were coming into the game led by Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers, seen here in his new role as spokesman for that new sports drink, Mortstead's Secret Stuff, that tantalizing fountain of youth drink made out of cayenne pepper and water. Now, the power of the Secret Stuff was immediately apparent as Aaron Rodgers started the game on fire. Okay, so I guess it's a time release formula. Got it. Anyway, after a brutally slow start where he started out 9 of 13 for just 76 yards, and the Jets failing to get a first down until its sixth offensive possession, Rodgers and company really kicked it into high gear. Rodgers flinging 4-yard throws all over the yard, really stretching the limits of the human body, redefining what a prototype quarterback really should look like. And as us Jet fans, this team was ready to play complimentary football, ready to rise to the occasion. With the season on the line, we all remember what cornerback DJ Reed has always known, has always said, what he let us know last year, that us Jet fans, we're in good hands.
I'm very confident. I think we have the potential to be the best defense in the NFL. And honestly, I think we could be historical, not just the best defense in the league, but I think we could have an historical defense like the 85-86 Bears, like the LOB in 2013. I think we could be that dominant if we put all the things together and we just focus on the now and we're deliberate and everyone plays up to their potential. I think the sky's the limit for us.
Well, that's something. But even with DJ Reed hyping up the defense like George Lucas at a flannel shirt fashion show. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Looking good. Anyway, the Jets clearly had their hands full. I mean, it can't be easy going up against that great Colts quarterback. Wait, hold on. It's not Peyton? He's retired? Wait, he hosts a Monday night show on ESPN2 with his brother Eli? Deer caught in headlights, Eli. So who the is the Colts quarterback? Wait a second. This guy? Wasn't that the guy that was benched for Marvel statue model and Medusa victim Joe Flacco? The dude that needed a breather in the middle of a Colts loss. Are you serious? The Jets couldn't contain this guy. They allowed him to have his best day as a pro? DJ.
When you start losing and, I just feel like when you start losing, guys want to overcompensate. Guys want to do a little more, and that's a normal thing to do, especially if you want to win. The second half, ultimately that last drive was just very demoralizing. It just wasn't our standard. It was just very demoralizing for them to score in 7 plays. Very surprising, to be honest.
Well, with the Jets leading by 8 with 10 minutes left in the game, surely they got this in the bag, right? Oh, 2 70-plus yard drives by the Colts in their last 2 possessions, resulting in TDs, including the game-winning score. Well, let's take a live look into the Jets locker room. Oh, wait. Hold on. Okay, my on-site reporter states that getting interviews is hard. Players are acting a little cheeky right now. Hold on. What's that? I've got the wrong graphic on the screen. Change the damn graphic. That's better. Anyway, I'm pretty sure we'll have a good explanation about how this happened, right? Take it away, Jeff Ulbrich.
True strength is demonstrated in these moments where adversity really hits, and it's hitting us from a football perspective. There's this is probably one of the higher level of adversity that you'll ever face. So it's an opportunity to not let your situation define who you are. Overall, after a long layoff there, they were not prepared to play. We didn't execute even close to our standard, and that falls on my shoulders 100%. A lot of teams around this league, just in current American sport period, like when adversity hits, you see a lot of teams that splinter and start pointing the finger, and things start to not only go bad on the field but off the field, and I have not felt that at all with this team. I felt as adversity has hit, we've really started to respond in the right way, and as opposed to pointing the finger at ourselves, and every man in that locker room and every coach in that coaching staff is doing that right now. That game, especially that second half, that's not who this team is. It's not good enough, and that starts with me and the coaching staff, and it goes down to every single player on this team. We can all give more, and we will give more. We have what we need. That is not who we are. Yeah, it's not good. It's not the standard of this defense. No man in there would say that. It's just not. We're just not accustomed to it. There were some communication errors. There's definitely some times where I could have put them in better calls, and then there was some assignment errors. So it wasn't the defense that we're accustomed to, especially against the run.
I get the feeling that somewhere, someplace, someone. All right. Jets Nation, come here. Let's get serious now. All right? Let's get realistic. It's clear that this Jets team is a team that we've overrated somewhat. While we may have some incredible talent here, the Garrett Wilsons, the Breece Halls, the Williams brothers, even Sauce, yes, I know he hasn't been great lately, but the dude still has talent. Let's be for real. The problem is this team is just that, a collection of talent. Defense has regressed badly, and whether you want to blame that on the offseason losses to the defensive line, or the early season firing of Robert Saleh, the fact that Jeff Ulbrich has taken over a dual role of defensive coordinator / head coach. It's not just the defense, because the offense just hasn't gelled. And the problem is you have the offensive coordinator who doesn't know whether he wants to use the running game or not use the running game, stop when it's working, use it when it's not. I mean, whether you have a quarterback that does not want to push the ball downfield, he refuses to do that because maybe he doesn't want to get interceptions. I mean, there's a lot of things that is wrong with this team. The biggest culprit for me in this era has to be coaching, because it seems like they're always outcoached by the other team, regardless of who they're playing. So, we've been fooled by this team long enough. We're in this constant cycle where it's, yes, they're playing well, then the next game they lose, and then we're back to, oh, this is the worst team in the world, and then they do something to kind of reignite our hopes, and then we're back into this vicious cycle over and over and over again. It's time to figure out what this team needs. And what do we need? We need to blow things up. Joe Douglas needs to leave. We've got to fire Jeff Ulbrich. Listen, I like Jeff Ulbrich. I think he's a nice guy. I think he was a guy that was thrust in a horrible situation. What can you do? The fact of the matter, it's not working. This team doesn't play for him. This team feels like it has regressed big time, especially on the defense. Again, let's go back to that. The defense has been abjectly horrible lately. And it's time for Joe Douglas to walk. He has collected a nice group of guys here. He hasn't had a winning season since he's been here, and we've had no playoff appearances. And it feels like we're getting worse and worse and worse as time goes on. But the most important thing, Jets Nation, we have to move on from the Aaron Rodgers experiment. I think there was an opportunity for this team to embrace Aaron Rodgers, and that fell within 4 plays on September 11th of last year. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers has been the same ever since. So get rid of him. I know it's going to kill our cap, but take a look at Denver. Denver ripped the Band-Aid off with Russell Wilson. I believe they have it's a dead cap hit for them, $53 million this year, and another one for $32 next year. They got hit hard with the cap, but guess what? They're in playoff contention, so it can be done. It's just a matter of whether the Jets can nail the leadership process. If they can get the hiring process for these guys done and done well and bring in the right guys with the right culture, then we've got a chance. And we've got the perfect guy for that. That's our show for tonight. The Jets are on a bye next week, so guess what? We can't lose. Thanks for watching, and good night.